Most growth doesn't come from learning more, it comes from trusting yourself. At first, it makes sense to ask for advice. You're learning, you're figuring things out, but there comes a point where always asking becomes a way of avoiding deciding. Not because you don't know what to do, but because deciding means taking responsibility. And responsibility feels heavy. A lot of people say they want clarity. What they really want is someone to tell them they're right. But real clarity doesn't shout, it feels quiet and steady. Confidence isn't loud, it doesn't rush, it doesn't need to prove anything. Most people aren't stuck because they're confused, they're stuck because they're scared of being wrong. So they wait, they think more, and they plan forever. Not because they're lazy, but because trusting yourself means you can't hide anymore. But here's the truth, you already know the next step. You know what to do. You already know the next step. You just don't know how it will feel once you take it. And that feeling is what you're avoiding. Growth isn't blocked by lack of information, it's blocked by discomfort. Can you choose without everyone agreeing? Can you move forward without knowing the outcome? Can you stand by your decision, even if it feels uncomfortable? That's not talent, that's emotional strength. A lot of people wait to feel confident before acting. But confidence comes after action, not before. The longer you avoid choosing, the more you rely on other people's opinions, external validation. Over time, that makes your own voice quieter. And you stop asking, what do I believe? And you start asking, what will people accept? That's when life starts to feel off. Even if nothing is obviously wrong. So ask yourself this, what decision have you been putting off? Not because you don't want to, but because you don't want to carry the weight of choosing. That weight doesn't disappear. You just grow stronger by holding it. This stage of life isn't about becoming someone new, it's about trusting who you already are. That means fewer explanations, less asking for permission, more standing behind your choices, not in any arrogant way, in a calm way. At first, trusting yourself can feel lonely. You're not wrong, you're just early. But it is also where momentum comes from. So just start. Just start. Get that momentum going. Because once you trust yourself, decisions get easier, energy feels focused, and progress feels natural. Here's your action step. Today, make one small decision without asking anyone else. No polls, no second guessing. Just choose and move. If this message made sense to you, comment self trust. Subscribe if you're ready to stop giving your power away. Sometimes growth doesn't look like change. Sometimes it looks like you finally listening to yourself. Once you start trusting yourself, something else becomes very clear. Emotions stop feeling like commands and start feeling like information. A lot of people think emotions are meant to control them. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel nervous, they delay. If they feel fear, they assume something bad is about to happen. But emotions aren't orders, they're energy. Emotions are energy in motion. And that means they are meant to move through you, not stay stuck and run your life. When you don't understand that, you start treating every feeling and warning. You start treating every feeling like a warning sign, and that keeps people frozen. Fear is the biggest one, and fear isn't always danger. Most of the time, fear is just false evidence appearing real. It feels real in your body, your heart beat faster, and your thoughts race. Your mind starts creating stories. Hey, it's just your mind creating stories. But feelings don't always mean facts. Fear often shows up when you're about to grow, when you're about to speak up, when you're about to try something new, when you're about to leave something familiar. If fear always meant stop, no one would ever change. Emotionally mature people learn how to feel fear without letting it make decisions for them. They don't fight the feeling. They don't judge themselves for it. They let the energy move and they choose their actions anyways. That's strength. Another part of emotional growth is learning. Learning this. Not every emotion needs an immediate reaction. Just because you feel irritated doesn't mean you need to respond. Just because you feel misunderstood doesn't mean you need to explain yourself. Just because you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it just means the energy is moving. When you allow emotions to move instead of suppressing them, they lose their power over you. That's why you're supposed to move your body, get the energy flowing. You stop being controlled by moods. You stop being pulled in different directions all day. You become steadier. This also becomes this also changes how you deal with other people. You don't react as fast. You don't take everything personally. You don't need to win every conversation. You realize that peace comes from control, not from being right. And control doesn't mean holding everything tight. It means knowing when to let things pass. Another thing, emotional maturity brings patience with yourself. You stop expecting others to always feel confident. You stop thinking fear means failure. You stop assuming discomfort means you chose wrong. You understand that growth has sensations. Just like working a muscle causes soreness, stretching your life causes emotional pressure. That pressure isn't punishment, it's evidence that something is moving. So if lately you've been feeling more aware of your emotions, more aware of your fears, more aware of your reactions, that doesn't mean you're regressing. It usually means you're leveling up. You're learning how to manage your inner world instead of letting it manage you. That's leadership. That's maturity. That's power. Here's something simple to practice. When a strong emotion shows up this week, don't label it as good or bad. Ask yourself, what is this energy trying to tell me? Is this a fear? Is this fear a fact or is it false evidence appearing real? Do I need to act right now or can I let this move? That pause alone will change everything. If this part made sense to you, comment energy. Subscribe if you're learning how to move with clarity instead of fear. Growth isn't about feeling less, it's about understanding what you feel and choosing who you become anyway. Shalom.